What's up, guys? So I just finished watching Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer. It's a 1986 movie about Henry Lee Lucas, the serial killer, one of the most prolific mass murderers. On his Wikipedia page, it said he murdered somewhere between 4,000 or 3,000 people. It's like 4,000 or 3,000, But I don't know. I guess it's all based off his confessions, and they can really get that thorough of a report on him just because of all this sloppy police work and shit. Like, it's really kind of disgusting how someone can just go around killing that many people and not really get totally caught for a lot of them, but whatever. Anyway, really good movie. It actually, I guess it's a cult film. It had a lot of notoriety when it came out, caused a lot of controversy, and got an X rating even. It was just so violent and graphic, I guess, but it was actually pretty good. Siskel and Ebert even gave it 2 thumbs up, and, you know, I'd be inclined to agree with them. It was really well directed, well acted. Like, I didn't really have any kind of sympathy for the killer or like glorified him or anything like that. Just was a pretty good, honest look at just a couple of days in his life. It's directed by a guy named John McNaughton, who's directed Mad Dog and Glory and Wild Things. Michael Rooker plays Henry, and he's been in Days of Thunder, The Dark Half, Cliffhanger, Mallrats, Bone Collector, Slither. Those are just some movies I've seen that he was in, but he's been in like hundreds of movies. This is actually one of his, I think, the first movie he started. And then there's another guy named Thomas Towles, who plays Otis, his little partner in crime. Him and Henry and Otis did some time together in jail, and they became friends, and I think Henry was the one who got out, I think, a year before him. And they lived together in this movie. And Tom Towles has been in Rob Zombie's Halloween. He's been in Devil's Rejects, Night of the Living Dead. And then Becky is, the girl right there, that's Otis's sister, who is married to this abusive guy named Leroy that we never get to see. Her real name is Tracy Arnold, and she hasn't been in a lot of movies, just this one and a movie called The Borrower and The Shot, and that's it. And she was in some made-for-TV movie about sex, but yeah, I guess she plays an ex-stripper in this movie. But anyway, the movie starts off, we see all these dead girls. One has like a bottle in her face, like a broken bottle like shoved into her face, and like I think one girl's been strangled or beat up, and there's broken necks and stuff. But yeah, a really good movie. Like, it was pretty violent, but it wasn't like glorifyingly like gorily violent. It was just like a couple people have their necks broken, some good people get shot, strangled. Otis and Henry were shopping for a TV after Otis got drunk and kicked in their old set, so they had to go buy a new one, and the guy at the warehouse is being a real dick to them, so they killed him and broke a TV on his skull. This is like, oh yeah, they also stole a video camera from that guy, and they started videotaping their, you know, murders and stuff, like of Henry stabbing guys and, you know, them sexually assaulting women and stuff like that. They eventually break their camera though, and it kind of causes a big rift between them. But yeah, it wasn't all that brutally violent or anything like that. It was like really well done, told the story pretty well. It just starts off with Becky getting into town. I forget what city it takes place in. I think it's Chicago. And Leroy picks him up, introduces her to Henry while they're, you know, eating dinner or whatever, and she takes a shine to him even though he's damaged. And Leroy tells him a little bit about Henry's past and why he was in jail, because he was in jail for stabbing his mother to death, or beating her with a baseball bat is what he said, but then Henry says he stabbed her, and there's all these like crossing of the stories. And he said he stabbed his mother because she was a prostitute, and she was really abusive towards him. It'd make him watch her have sex with clients while wearing a dress, and they'd put a dress on him and laugh at him. It fucking drove him crazy. And he plays a crazy guy quite well in this movie, Michael Rooker. He plays a very kind of like friendly but despondent guy who just has all these urges to kill all the time. Anytime there's like intimacy or a little bit of tension, he'll say he needs to go out for a pack of cigarettes and go like murder someone and just come home. And his whole thing, his whole modus operandi or whatever it's called, was that if he keeps killing everybody in a different way, the cops will know it's the same person. That's why he would strangle or shoot or break their necks. He'd always switch it up, shove a bottle in your face, do all these creative different kinds of death. And anyway, so they go out and like Otis and them pick up some prostitutes, and they're having sex in the same car, and Henry and the other prostitutes in the back seat. And because there's intimacy, Henry goes totally violent, breaks their neck, kills Otis's prostitute, and just dumps the body just right outside. There you go. And that's how Otis got tied into all this. He's never killed anyone before. I think he was just in jail for like, I don't know what he's in jail for, drugs or something, because he does sell drugs in here. Otis, this guy plays a totally perverted drug dealer. He's got all these kind of like homosexual tendencies, and he'll grab little boys' crotch as well, selling them drugs and stuff. A big pervert. He's even committing a little bit of incest in this movie too. Tries to rape his sister. Anyway, so they go on killing together. Otis really gets into killing. They're videotaping each other killing. They break the camera one day, causes a fight. He tells Otis to go get drunk, like go out for a drink by yourself. And he takes his sister out to dinner because they're getting along really well. Him and his sister, Henry, and the Becky character have a good rapport together, I guess, because Becky really took a shine to him. And they come home, and you know, Henry's getting really fed up with Otis. Otis is there passed out on the couch, and the tape of one of their rapes is in the VCR, but Becky didn't see it, and like Henry stops it in time. And so Becky's trying to put the moves on him in her bedroom, and stupid ass Otis interrupts, and you could tell Henry's getting a little antsy, so he goes out and gets some cigarettes, kills a lady, comes back home, and Otis is raping his sister, Becky. So he kicks his ass, and Becky stabs him in the eye, and then with a comb, and then Henry finishes him off with the same comb later. I could probably actually show you that scene. I don't think there's any nudity. Da-da-da. But yeah, then the movie ends. Like, they go to a hotel, Henry and Becky. Yeah, he breaks a bottle on his head. So yeah, Becky and Henry get out of town after killing Otis. They throw his body parts into a river because they cut him up in the tub, cut his arms and legs off and shit like that. Yeah, they go into a hotel, and then the next day Henry leaves the hotel by himself with this big heavy suitcase and just has him driving away. Then he takes the suitcase out of the trunk, leaves it in a ditch. Close-up shot of that. Movie ends. Pretty cool. I liked it. Didn't really have a resolution. Did have sequels though. Mask of Sanity, Portrait of a Serial Killer 2. But yeah, I don't know how true to life any of this is. I don't know if it's actual factual documentation or word for word if this really happened. So it's probably a little fiction, non-fiction mixture in here. But fairly good movie for 1986. It's cool to watch all these kind of 80s sets and stuff. Like, it was pretty well done. I really enjoyed it. And it wasn't all that violent. But yeah, I'd recommend watching this movie for sure.